check Facebook? Did you check Facebook?
No, I haven't.
You got to
Talk,
do that.
talk.
I am talking.
I need the.
I don't know what you need.
Left.
I know. Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Been on a hiatus trying to get everything back together. We're back again for another season. This is me, Paul Gomez.
And me, Dylan Moore, hardest working kid in comics.
Getting a little bit better at that. As you can see, he's double checking the Facebook, so I can't see anything that's going on. But we're back with another season. This is episode 16, 17? I don't remember. Somewhere around there. I think it's 17. We got a very special guest, Dan Price.
Yes, Dan Price.
And we're going to talk about Bigfoot, karate, and all this stuff going on in comics. We don't really have too much scheduled for this thing, so we're going to wing it a little bit. But we do have a few subjects
that I like to do
that he wants to talk about and that I want to talk about. And we're going to see what Dan has to say and talk a little bit of his comic as well. So without further
ado,
Dan Price. How's it going?
What's going on, fellas? Good to see y'all again. How you been?
Yeah.
Oh. Ah.
Hey, I'm back. All right.
Yeah, back again. Getting the kinks worked out.
We're it's been a while since I saw y'all at Central Texas Comic-Con. So how y'all been?
Man, it's been a roller coaster ride.
I've been getting bullied by him.
Yes, he has. He's starting his eBay store up, and I've been trying to some stuff, and I'm like, I've never sold a comic until I sold my own.
Right.
And he's like, I want to do eBay store, and I'm like, I don't know anything about this.
Shoot for the skies.
So he's learning all about this while I'm learning. You know, we were talking about the graphic design and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know how to do like my own flyers or any of the pages of a comic. I didn't know how to put any of that stuff together. And I've been learning, you know, the past year or two, I've been learning how to do everything.
Sure.
You know, put the teams together for the comics, do the stuff on graphics, learning how to do YouTube and StreamYards. And it's overwhelming. It really is. So with him doing the eBay store, it's been
phenomenal.
Different. So how you been doing? Did you have a good holiday?
I've had a great holiday. I just realized I left my drink right over there out of arm's reach. Can I have 1 second? Let me grab that. I'm so sorry.
No problem. Hardest working kid in comics. He's starting on eBay. If you haven't checked him out, check him out. You got a few of my books up there, and he's gathering a collection himself. He's got one that he's got a feature later on and show and talk about. But we'll get to that.
I apologize. Good filler. Good. Y'all stretched nicely. I like that. No, things are good. Good holiday, man. I got away for a week with my wife. We got away for a little bit, and we had our big, every year we do this thing called we have a Christmas party every year, you know, for my Semitic and non-Semitic friends alike. You know, everybody comes over, we have a nice meal and you know, this year we did a rib roast and a turkey and a ham. So it was the feast of the three beasts, so to speak. And we had a lot of fun and saw the kids and went up to Dallas for New Year's. And my parents just got married over the weekend. So they've been together for 30 years. They've been dating for 30 years and finally got married. So,
congratulations.
Yeah. You know, they waited 31 years to do this. So I've known them. They've been together since I was 16. Right. You know, and I'm like, sure. Finally. Why not? So it was a good time. And I got some work done on Bigfoot Knows Karate Chapter 3, and we're finishing up Bigfoot Knows Karate Hinagon right now, and it's just been a crazy time in the world of Bigfoot Knows Karate. So it's been good.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's talk about that. I mean, how did you get into comics? I mean, was this something that you planned on?
Well, I mean, I loved comics since I was a kid. That's like, you know, number one. I started reading comics when I was about 8 years old, probably, and then you know, I really loved art. Drawing, all of that. I've been doing that since I could crawl. And I always liked superhero-y type stuff when I was young. And so when Image happened in 1992, that's when I really wanted to create comics. That's when it became a thing for me. I did some work for a small studio outside of Houston when I was in high school. They right across the street from the Johnson Space Center, there is a neighborhood called Nassau Bay, and right across from Nassau Bay, and there was a little comic store over there, run by a dude named Kevin and DJ, and they had a studio in the back. And there was Space City Comics, that's what it was called. Wow. And they did their book Cutting Edge #1, and then they did Space City #1, and then they started doing their different titles, Dead Men, and that one about the guy from back in time, and all this stuff. And I got to hang out there, and I learned from them, and got to be involved with that in some weird ways. Hell yeah, man! What's up, Raphael? How you doing, dude? There's folks in here. Hell yeah! What's going on, y'all? And sorry. Anyway, so I started to learn from them, and I'm 16, 17, around this time, and then when I went off to college, they said that I could have my own book, like they felt like I was ready to, and I had this little thing. It was called Soul Bender. And it was about somebody who could actually pull souls out of bodies and contort and twist, tear, bend, whatever, and put them back into the body. And like they would have tics or, just like your complete emotional, bankruptcy or whatever. It was weird. And, but the studio dried up, it wasn't going to last forever, I guess. And so I didn't get to do my project, and I was 18 years old at that point, and I didn't really make my first comic until I was 30.
Oh wow! Well, yeah. I mean, I think we started whenever I was 40.
Yeah.
44. So
yeah, I get it. Yeah,
no. Don't ever stop. Keep looking forward. I mean,
sure.
He started at 30. I started at 40 something,
and I started at 15.
There you go.
And I tell him, us building this stuff now, he can, sell these books for the entirety of his life if he chooses. Him deciding to do this eBay thing, it's been working out good for him.
Sure. No, yeah. I mean, it's can you talk about it's like working with LKC? Lesser Known Comics. That's my publisher.
Yes.
So
I definitely want to know a little bit about that.
Yeah.
We talked about it whenever we were down there at Central Comic Con, but
yeah.
But I would love to talk about these guys. So how did you get in contact with Lesser Known, or did they reach out to you?
So how did that happen? It was more of a we met doing a podcast. Mark Bernal from Lesser Known Comics, and I and another dude named Doug Knight, who's now a part of Lesser Known Comics, was before I got there. I mean, they banded up early on. And I was like one of my very first podcasts I did once I started doing Bigfoot Knows Karate. And we did a podcast. It was Indie Comics Dispatch. And it was, we did an episode of that together. And that's where I met them. And I've been familiar with what they were doing in the periphery. We were following each other and that kind of thing. And Mark and I just started talking from there. And it just kind of built up a friendship, really, more than anything else. We probably hung out with each other in real life probably about 2-3 times before I ended up joining Lesser Known. It was more of a kind of a just a mutual respect situation. I liked what they were doing. They liked what I was doing. So
if people don't know Lesser Known Comics, are they a publisher, or are they just a group that kind of exchange ideas? What exactly are they?
It's a publisher. Small press indie publisher, and it is, but it is. It's a lot of creators. I mean, everybody, I wouldn't say, all like-minded or anything like that, but it's, it's a, because there's a lot of different creators there, but everybody who loves the idea of making comics, who loves the art form, loves the medium, and it's just such an eclectic group of creators. Let me just put it like that. I love them. I love it for that. They're not all doing the same thing. It's not like everybody, got some folks who are, you know, into superheroes, and some folks who are into horror, and some folks who are doing 90s throwback, or some stuff that was, you know, a slice of life, or, you know, zine like pieces or whatever. It's just,
definitely is.
It's all over the place, and
Right.
it's wonderful. You know, I've know so many different creators over there, whether it's like,
Uh-oh.
you
I think we lost him. The lesser known comics is definitely a great group. You should look into them if you haven't heard
Brandon
about them.
Pills, who just did Autolize. There we go.
Oh, there you go. You just got back.
Okay, you're back. All right, cool. So I don't know what happened there, but no, but it's such an eclectic group of people. You know, Jerry Cooley is a very good friend of mine who does a book called End of Days. He recently joined on with them, and you know, that's so exciting. And they're you know, and then you know, there's just a great group of creators. Reese Jenkins, who does a book called Deuces Are Wild, it just finished its first Kickstarter. I'm so excited about that book. I'm excited for Reese. I'm excited for all the things he's going to bring to indie comics. You know, same thing with like you know, Tights. Chris Wygan. I don't know if you're familiar with a book called Tights.
No.
But it's just blowing up. I mean, it's just great. There's just so many amazing creators over there, and it's spurned off another title or another imprint, Apollo City Comics, that does all what is the word I'm looking for? Anthology books. You know, they did a punk rock anthology, that did really well, and now they got the Shadow anthology that's in Kickstarter right now. It funded within 4 hours. You know, and they're just blowing up over there, and there's just so many great creators. You know, Max Flowers, he does a book called Rat Brain Zines, and he's just kind of put his mark all over LKC, and it's just amazing, you know, to watch all the creativity. He did a piece for me, and I don't have it up here. It's downstairs. I was going to show it to you, but anyway, just I've never seen so much excitement and creativity in indie comics like I'm seeing it at lesser known. And like, and really, you know, I mean, I've been really blessed since I got, like, I mean, blessed is a weird word for me to use, but but like, I've been really lucky, blessed, whatever you want to say, since I got back into doing comics a few years ago, because I took like a 7-year break. Right. And getting on Instagram and meeting all the different creators I've met and the community that is over there. And it's just been, and that's where we all met. It was all through Instagram. I mean, that's how it all kind of happened. I mean, that's how I met my co-writer on Bigfoot Knows Karate. Is that how y'all met on Instagram? No,
I'm saying I need to get, he's been telling me I need to get
on. Yeah.
I'm mainly on Facebook.
I know. Yeah, I see you on Facebook, man. You're active on Facebook, man.
I try my best, you know.
Yeah.
Before I got into comics, no social media at all. Like, right. I had Facebook because of one person that I was talking to on Messenger, but nothing else. And now that I'm getting into comics, I'm trying to learn all the social media, eBay, you know, DeviantArt, and I'm trying to learn all this stuff. But at the same time, I'm trying to learn, you know, the technical aspect of it, the file sharing, you know, the creative stuff too, you know, how to write. Because I never wrote a book, or I never wrote anything before this, you know, but that's me. You know, we're here to talk about you, and Lesser Known Comics is a great group. I hope everybody who is listening to this checks them out, because they really are making, you know, some moves, and they're definitely some good people out there.
Oh yeah. No, Raphael in the chat mentioned David Lujan. Yeah, David, he's mentioned David being from Texas. He's from Austin, same town I live in. Also, Ray Garza from Tank McGregor from Lesser Known Comics also lives in Austin as well. So you met them when we were in Central Texas. Are you going to be at that show this year?
I think I only got one show scheduled, which is San Diego, and I'm hoping to schedule a few more, but I would love to go back there because I had a great time.
Yeah, I already got my table for it, so yeah.
Yeah, I hope to have a table, because I'm going to start booking a few more. I had a lot of things happen to me the past month and a half, and I kind of been waiting to fulfill this last book, so that's one of the main things I've been focusing on. But, you know, I love conventions.
Oh, yeah.
love love convention, and I've had a lot of luck. You know, I know a lot of people are kind of hit and miss with them.
Yeah.
Luck or skill?
Is it luck or skill?
Yeah.
I don't know. But the one thing I would say is there's been a lot of great people that I've met. It's been a lot of fun. You know, I guess a lot of people measure it in, you know, you're making profit or not. And I've only had like 1 or 2 losses.
I think 2 or 3.
2 or 3?
Yeah.
Out of about 20 or 25 or so.
Sure.
So it's like, you know, I love conventions. So I'm hoping to be back there this time too.
And especially with my stuff.
With his eBay stuff going, he's selling, like I said, he's selling comics. He's going to try to sell some at conventions.
Nice.
On top of that, you know, I've been learning the past year to draw.
I've seen that. I've been seeing your progress on Facebook, man.
Thank you. Yeah, and my son here, he decided a few days ago. He's like, I want to learn to color.
Nice.
So he's like looking into color theory and watching some, you know, YouTube stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
And he's wanting to really get into that, which I'm like, man, that works because I hate color.
Are you gonna, Dylan? Are you gonna color in digital or traditional, or what are you?
So
how are you with this?
Right now, I'm doing colored pencils.
Okay.
We ain't got anything to draw digital.
Yeah, we're looking into buying an iPad, and really, you know, we've been researching what kind are the best.
Sure.
But, you know, the thing, whenever I started learning to draw, I wanted to learn, you know, traditional first.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't jump into something that was digital and just felt like I couldn't do it on the spot.
Understood.
And with him wanting to learn as well, I told him, you know, maybe if you started this way, go from pencils to markers, from markers to digital stuff. By that time, we'll have maybe a good iPad Pro or something.
Right.
Have a good, nice setup. But, you know, right now it's the bare minimum.
Yeah.
And we're starting from, you know, the
Starting from the
get-go.
bottom to the top.
Man, I get it. Listen, when I learned to, I mean, I've been drawing with a pencil and a pen since, you know, whatever, you know, since I was a kid. But you know, I learned to color with colored pencils. Then Dr. Martin's inks. That was something that I was really big into in high school, is coloring with like fluid ink, and that's how like Valiant Comics would color their comics in the 90s, was with Dr. Martin's inks. And yeah, and so that's what they told me anyway. I don't know. Anyway, but I wasn't in the office, so I don't know what they were really doing. But yeah, so working that way was like, hey, I know that dude. Anyway, so working that way was fun. You know, nowadays I'm completely digital in all my artwork. You know, I work in you know, from the graphic designer in me, I work in Adobe Illustrator on a laptop to do all my comics. I draw in Adobe Illustrator, and so I color in there too. And then I do Photoshop for color corrections and effects and things like that. And so it's all just done here on the laptop. But it's you find what makes you know, what works for you, what's best for your workflow, what's comfortable for you, you know. And I know some folks that they will never drop the pencil, man. They're traditional till the end. And I give them nothing but credit, because me personally, I can't ink for shit. My inking skills are the pits traditionally. And so my only course of action is to either be a penciler only or to do this all digitally. And so there you are.
So like, I love drawing with pencil. You know, I've been learning, and I kind of want to be able to do it so I could, you know, draw sketches on the spot if I wanted to. So he starting to learn colors, and he's like, I don't want to color my pencils. He don't want to color my pen. He wants me to ink it. And I'm like, I hate colors. I hate ink. But if you're going to color it, then I'm going to try to learn the ink stuff.
You know, what might be good for you guys is a light box, honestly, and just ink over on your light box. That's what I did. I would ink on a light box, so that way if I screwed up on my pencils, I didn't ruin my pencils, you know what I mean? So I just
Right.
think that's a safety measure, you know, and then that way, and then you can color on the inked page rather than on the pencil page too. So something
Yeah.
to think about.
Yeah.
Those are really inexpensive to get on on not eBay, on Amazon and that sort of thing. A light box. Yeah.
We've been looking. I've been looking into light boxes. I've been looking into a whole bunch of things. But like
Sure.
I said, I wanted to start traditionally, so I didn't.
Sure.
It was one of those things that I originally it was just because he wanted to learn to draw. Then he decided that he didn't want to learn to draw. He wants colors.
Right.
Man, I've been struggling with fingers and hands and stuff. I've been actually drawing them like nonstop the past month or two.
Sure.
That's kind of where I'm at, actually. Fingers and hands and stuff are some of the hardest stuff to pick up.
Yeah. What was he saying in there? Oh, how about how to draw with my finger? Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I draw with my fingertip.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. So I don't use a stylus.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, like, if you ever catch me on Instagram Live or something like that, I'll sit there and draw like that. And just draw with my fingertip on the screen. That's my hand shakes. So like with a stylus, that's why I'm such a shitty inker, is because my hand has a little bit of a shake to it, and so I just can't get it right. And so having a stylus on the screen, it there you can see that little bit of variance in the shake of my hand, but with my fingertip directly on the screen, there's nothing there between it, so it's just a fluid movement. And it makes for a kind of a shaggier, grungier, style, because I draw really loose. But it's working. I'm liking it. It makes it work. It works for me, I guess.
It really is what works. I mean, every artist does some things differently.
Sure.
And like I tell him, it's like you got to find what feels comfortable for you. The reason I started with a pencil and paper, which originally I just started with a wood pencil and just some copy paper, was because you never know where you're going to be when you're drawing or what you're going to have around. But man, I found some of the pencils, the nicer pencils, actually make so much of a difference. So I could imagine just drawing with your fingers makes a difference.
Listen, I did my first comic series. I did like 8 issues of that. I drew probably about 4 or 5 of those are on, in either the full story or side stories or whatever. And all that was done with, blue pencil on one page, light boxed it with light blue pencils or pencils together. And then I'd light box the inks, and then I'd scan those and I'd color in Photoshop. I did that for years.
That's awesome.
And then you find your comfort zone. And for me, the comfort zone was, dude, you're a graphic designer. You work in illustration software all day long. Why in the world would you stop? Why would you go backwards? In my head, with all the skills and all the tools that you have at your disposal as a graphic designer, don't feel like these are two separate things.
No.
One is not, the graphic design and comic books, they can merge so well in my head when I started doing Bigfoot. And I maybe a couple of years before that, I started working on some stuff, and I started approaching it from the graphic designer mindset and using the tools in that way to make a comic book. And it, and it changed everything, the way I look at how to make a comic book now, how to draw a comic book, or how to produce a comic book, because I'm not just penciling, I'm not just inking, I'm not just coloring, I'm not just lettering, I'm doing all of that. You know what I mean? I have a co-writer on Bigfoot Knows Karate, and Casey Allen, who is just amazing, incredible person, great writer. I love him to pieces. Everything he's contributed to the main storyline, everything he's contributed to Hennigan, which was his baby, and it's just a great story drawn by Adam Caswell. Just incredible stuff. It's, but like when it comes to, as the writing, I've got a teammate in that. For the rest of it, it's like, you got to just run with the ball and go. So it's not really like, so I don't really just look at it as, the drawing, I color as I draw, you know what I mean? Like there's not one set stage, like I pencil it all, I ink it all, I color it. No, It's like every panel that gets done, it gets colored as I'm drawing the panel. You know what I mean? So it's a different process, but it works out really well for me. And I'm such a stickler for color anyway. Like I will spend so much time just dicking with colors. Just part of my life. I'm cussing all over the place here, man. But
and that's the thing. I was telling him, he originally wanted to learn to draw, and then he decided it wasn't for him. But now that he's looking into coloring, he's been experimenting with this and that. And I told him, we got colored pencils, we got markers, we got we got this stuff. But you don't have to limit yourself to that. Learn this. Then you got like watercolors, and you look into digital stuff. And it's a lot of trial and error and experimenting, and it's also evolving, because I mean, with every year you learn something new. Me learning to draw wasn't just I was going to learn one style and that was going to be it. I was trying to learn everything that I could from everybody, and then figure out what works for me. And that's what I was telling him. I was like, there's plenty of stuff out there, and he's got plenty of time. He's young. He wants to do a comic himself, and I'm like, man, if I learn to draw and if you learn to color, I'm already writing my books. You can write your books, and we could do this stuff together.
So that'd be cool. See, no, coloring is my favorite part of the process. Honestly, it really is. You can't. I need the rest of it to make that part work. You know what I mean? But it's like, I love playing with color. It's too much fun for me. So
Bigfoot Knows Karate.
Yeah.
Where was it that this came from? I mean, did you know Bigfoot in the past or something?
No, I'm not a believer, if that's what you mean. But and I'm also not a black belt either. But so my original story, my original comics that I did when I first got started was a book called Latex Avenger. Okay. Right. And Latex Avenger, he had a sidekick, spermicidal foam lad, and together they repelled crime 99.9% of the time. So
they should put that on the box.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it was a yeah. Well, I mean, the marketing for that book was ridiculous. It was fun. We had and that Bigfoot Knows Karate was supposed to live in that universe when this whole thing first started. It was supposed to be a comedy. With a name like Bigfoot Knows Karate, how could it have not been a comedy? And I wrote the story, and it was terrible. It was just stupid. It wasn't funny. I mean, and I've written a lot of stupid, terrible comic books, so I knew what I was talking about. You know what I mean? When you do a book like Latex Avenger, you're gonna come up with some really stupid stuff. And but I found an audience for it, and thank y'all. You are all amazing. I love you guys.
You never know what's
it was Latex Avenger was such a fun time for me. It was an amazing time, and it was a fun book to work on. I don't even consider that writing at this point, because all I have to do is just give me a plot, and my fingers will just start working. It's not writing. I've written the character so much that I know him so well. In fact, here's something. So another creator's putting that character into a comic. Okay, I'm sorry, this is an aside real quick. Another creator's putting Latex Avenger in a comic, and he's getting killed in the comic. Okay, it was a Kickstarter reward tier thing. And he's like, I'll kill you in my book. I'm like, how about don't kill me? How about kill my character? He's like, done. All right, and so he showed me the preview panel. There's some preview panels of the scene where the character's going to die, and I immediately wrote, can you make him say this? No, I'm not the writer. And he realized, I'm kidding. You don't need to make him do that. But that's how, when I saw the scene, I knew what it was supposed to say, just not what the scene was supposed to be, but how he would react to it. You know what I mean? How the character would react to it. I just know that character so well. And Bigfoot Knows Karate was supposed to live in that world of just characters like Manibus, the kaiju pot monster, and Sexy Nurse America, and who else? Kosher the pig, and my grandfather is in the comic as well. And just these crazy characters. It was supposed to be living all in that. And it didn't work. So that was 2014, 2015. So I shelved it. I just threw it away. The only thing that stayed was a pin on my wall over here that said Bigfoot Knows Karate. And it was it. And it was just a little little Post-it note. And I sat there on that for a long time. And around 2017, started drawing the character again, but it looks a lot more like, the character up in the corner over here.
Yeah.
Okay. With the gaunt eyes, and the look was different, and the emotion was different. And I kept thinking about this concept of, like, what if you were the only Bigfoot, you were the only one of your kind, and nobody knew you existed, and nobody knew that you even walked the earth, and nobody cared about you? What would that do to you? What would that do to your psyche? What would that do to your soul? And karate, and that was like this thought that kept going through my mind. And like, how would that affect someone? How would that, and to be alone for so long. And then he's going to fight Cthulhu. It was just a natural to me. So you had Bigfoot versus Kung Fu Thulu, Ultimate Cryptid Showdown, and that's just the first issue. It just kind of went from there. It's action adventure, it's psychological thriller. It's it's Godzilla versus Kong meets Kill Bill with a twist. It's the best way I can describe the book. Just off,
it's fun and unique. It's definitely different than what you see out there, but it definitely has that something that pulls you in. I definitely agree. Sometimes there's stuff that you're going to put on the shelf that you don't know if it's going to hit or not.
Right.
You just don't know. Whenever we were working on Bushibu Circus Mysteries, that was our first book that
right.
But we had PTSD that was just kind of there. And that kind of hit the most. Mm-hmm. So, to anyone out there who's making a book, it's like, sometimes you don't know what's going to hit. It might not be that one thing that you expect it's going to be your big one that's not going to hit, but you might have that side character, that next role that hits a lot bigger to other people than most.
Yeah. This is my fourth creator-owned book, so I did Latex Avenger, I did Masters of the Obvious, I did Excelsius for the Stan Lee Foundation, and now I'm doing Bigfoot Knows Karate. So it's not, this isn't, I've been doing this, doing different kind of indie projects for a while, and then done work for other creators and stuff, but as far as creator-owned titles, this is my fourth one, and people dig this one. Yay. They're not rolling their eyes at it like they did that Latex Avenger book that I did all those years. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's cool. It's cool. And I'm grateful for that. I am, because like I said, Instagram, like the Instagram community, has just been so good to this book, and people at LKC, and just everybody who's been a part of the ride. We've had so much fan art, and just so much, and that's like crazy in and of itself, is just the amount of fan art that people have sent in. It's been over, we're got to be hitting around 180 pieces of fan art at this point that have come in for Bigfoot Knows Karate. And so it's like, what the hell? In fact, let me show you something. Let me show you something. This is going to the winner, into the winner of our that for our blah 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 blah, for the raffle that we did for the Kickstarter. That's done by a guy named Andy Bloor out of England. Isn't that gorgeous?
Isn't
that gorgeous? Yeah. So that's going out to the winner of that. I've got just so many cool things, so many great pieces of art that people have sent, and we're just so thrilled. So unbelievably thrilled. Every time we get a piece, Casey and I are like, did you see? That's so cool.
I got to admit, like I said, I started drawing about a year ago, and I haven't really drawn many characters other than, DC and Marvel, because that's what I've been practicing on the most. But there's been like 3 indie characters that I tried to draw. And Bigfoot actually was one of them. Bigfoot.
Hey.
I didn't do that good.
That's all good, man. That's all good.
But it was actually one of the 3 that I've tried. The other one was like a Ben Dunn's Tomorrow Girl. I tried to do her, and but that was one of the first indie characters that I was like, I'm gonna try to do that, because I love the character so much.
Thank you so much, man.
And hopefully one day I'll get good that I'll send you one. send it
I love it.
But yeah. I mean, it's it's an interesting thing to talk to new creators and tell them, hey, whenever you get a character that connects with people, then you start seeing this fan art that comes in, and it's a great experience. I mean, it really is.
It's so cool, I mean, I'm grateful that anybody reads the book, right? I mean,
Right.
That's like number one. I mean, because like it sucks to like work in a vacuum. You don't that's just like a terrible feeling. So like if anybody takes the time to read the comic, then I'm just glad that they took the time. And getting to go to conventions or just people talking to you in your DMs and that sort of thing, and just trying to just communicating with you about the comic, it makes me feel like I'm not wasting my time,
Right.
and and then you get somebody who says, well, it's not wasting your time as long as you love it. Yes, I know all that. I know all that. What I want is to achieve a fan base, or a reader base, or whatever you want to call it. Not fan base. I want people who are going to be into the comic.
Yeah.
Because I mean, for me, like I love making comic books. I love the medium. Yeah, I like to read them. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, don't ask me what happened in Fantastic Four 984 when Galactus said this to the Silver Surfer. Like, I don't know. Okay. Like, my love for comics has always been there, but it's grown and it's morphed and it's changed over the years of what I love about comics. It's not. Do I love reading them? Yeah, but it's like, but I read indie books that people give me at conventions. We trade books, and you know what I'm saying. That's what I enjoy reading these days.
I tell you, I've always told everyone I love comics. I mean, I don't care if it's the big two. Well, I mean, I think that the big two are pillars of the comic community, and I think LCSs are I'm so grateful to LCSs because they paved the way for a lot of the indies to be there.
Oh, absolutely.
But to me, it's like if I get my hands on a comic, I got my hands on a friend of mine, or a friend now. But whenever I met him at the convention, I didn't know him. He made this book called Stab Man.
Oh yeah,
Stab Man.
yeah.
And Ryan, I forget his last name. I'm bad. I feel bad that I forgot your last name, Ryan. But I'm talking about your comics, so okay.
All right, Ryan.
This book is a little bit unique, different.
Okay.
It's a little bit horror with a little bit of a twist.
I actually know where it's at.
Yeah, no, I know it's up. No.
Oh, okay.
but the fact of the matter is, it's like if I get any book, whether it's like I said, DC, Marvel, Image, Independent, I was working with Charter Comics, and they had a huge catalog that we got to read, and it was like, I'll take it, read it, because I love comics. A lot of them are good, a lot of them aren't, but to me, it's like, every comic is a different world, and if you connect with that character, that makes that world so much better.
Oh,
and like I was telling you, whenever I was doing those 3 fan arts of the indie comics, these were characters that I connected with, that I liked, that I wanted to be able to draw because they impacted me while I was reading them. And I definitely understand what you're saying. You make a comic and you just hope and pray. It's like, please let somebody read it out there. Let me connect with at least one person. And sometimes it takes a while. I got lucky that my first book was a connected comic with a lot of people, but sometimes you could see that it takes a while for some people. And I tell them, Bushy Boo Circus wasn't exactly the hit that I thought it was going to be. But after the second issue, I had a lot more people come up to me and say, "Hey, what's going to be in issue 3?"
Right,
and that's a great feeling.
That is a great feeling. Oh yeah, when people are actively wanting to know where's your next book, then all right, then we're doing something okay here. Yeah, it's a good feeling.
So, conventions.
Yeah,
Do you got a lot of conventions coming up this year?
I got a handful. I got a few more I need to plan out, but I got a handful. So I'm waiting to get my table for Staple here in Austin. I'm that's the first one would be out of the gate at the beginning of April. Staple, the Independent Media Expo. If you're not familiar with it, got to check that one out. So I'm waiting to get for the paperwork to come in so I can get that table there. Then I'll be at Central Texas at the latter half of April. And then Comic Palooza in May. Hopefully, I'm waiting to get for the applications to open up for a Heroes Con out in the Carolinas. So once that happens, I'll be putting in my application for that one. I'm going to be traveling a lot for work in the summertime, so I'm going to have to miss a couple things. But then I'll be in Baltimore for Baltimore Comic Con in September. Awesome. And hopefully I'll be able to figure out LA in December. So those are goals right there. But I've already but for sure I'll be at Central Texas, Comic Palooza, Baltimore, those for sure. I'm waiting to hear back from a lot of places right now. Are you doing you said you aren't doing a lot of shows this year. So
I'm hoping that I get into more, but I got San Angelo, which is coming up at the end of this month.
Yeah.
And they have another one, which is in Conroy, March, I think it is. And I'm trying to get into that one.
Oh, really?
Conroy? Conroy, yeah.
Oh, I'll have to look that up.
Yeah. It's the same people that are doing this one. They're going into Conroy. I think it's March.
I have no clue.
January, February. I think it's every 2 months they're doing a convention in Texas.
Oh, okay.
But I'm trying to get into their circuit, if you will. The other thing is, I still think I'm pretty new because I was trying to apply for a few conventions and I kind of got denied.
Which ones? Oh, you don't have to get into that if you don't want to, but
I'll tell you afterwards.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty. Like I said, I understand. I'm still pretty new, so I'm still trying to get into a few. But I appreciate the conventions that do let me in, and I appreciate the conventions that consider me. But I do know that a lot of bigger conventions have their list going, and
Yeah, I've got a wait listed on a couple of them right now. I'm waiting to hear back on some, I'm ones that I didn't even mention, but yeah, I'm waiting to hear back on a couple. Come on, boys, set me up.
But it's a great thing. One of the fun things I like to do is I do these sketches, and I try to do 100 sketches every time that I go to a convention.
Oh,
I try to do new ones because I'm just practicing. If I'm going to practice, why not give them away? Because I'm either going to give them away or throw them away, right?
Right.
And the customers seem to love them. They come up there and now that he's practicing coloring, it's going to be even better because it's going to be my lines and his colors.
Yeah.
And then we're going to practice on maybe some fan art soon.
Yeah.
You never know. But that'll be an interesting. Yeah. I mean, tables are getting a little bit higher. I mean, it's gone up a little bit depending on what convention you go to.
Yeah, I would love to be able to be invited to something. Nobody invited me yet, but one day, one day we'll get there.
We've been invited to 2.
Yeah,
we've been invited. What do you
consider Dallas Fan Expo invite? Because Bueller.
We paid. Oh yeah. But that was because somebody who had a table invited us to share their table.
I mean,
he was given the table, but yeah. Anyway. But yeah, man, it's been an interesting ride. Like I said, we just started 2 years ago.
Yeah.
This is
you've been busy, son.
Yeah, last month was our 2-year mark. I think we're going to slow down a little bit. Yeah, November was the first time PTSD came out.
Yeah.
And Bushy Boo came out right behind it. Yeah. So yeah, it's been an interesting ride for us. 2 years we've been putting out all these and going to conventions and trying to do streams and stuff like that.
Yeah, man.
You got any questions?
Yes.
All right, lay them on me. Have a great one, Matt.
I have. Do you know about Jason Momoa and Lobo? Do you know what's going on with that?
Pop culture.
Yes, pop culture. This is
no.
completely off of.
Is he getting Momoa to play Lobo?
So, Jason Momoa wanted to play Lobo whenever he first
Did Aquaman.
did Aquaman, yeah. And DC still wants him to be in DC. So he said he wanted to play Lobo in one of his interviews. And so I got this comic, luckily.
He's advertising his eBay store.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right, let's see it.
And I have gotten this comic.
Oh, nice. Yeah, first appearance of Lobo.
Yeah, it's kind of glaring. But
Yeah, I know that one.
Hardest working kid in comics on eBay. If you're looking for that comic, it'll be up in this week. If not, it'll probably be at the convention, which is San Angelo. But I think his question was,
what
Jason
do you think?
Momoa's was Aquaman, and now that they're going to stop his Aquaman run, do you think he's going to play Lobo?
Well, okay, so here's what I know. I've seen Momoa in a few episodes of Game of Thrones, right? And then I never saw Aquaman. I don't know. I
haven't either.
Okay, cool. So I don't really know much about the dude from his acting chops, really. I mean, he was pretty savage in Game of Thrones, and he played it to the T. He was amazing. Lobo, man, from a build perspective, a look perspective, he's definitely got that. If you can be that much of a son of a bitch, then you got it, man. I mean, like, because he's Lobo's a great character, but you gotta be able to jump into that character with both feet. And so yeah, if he plays it, great. You know what? I'd give a Lobo movie a watch. Why not? Yeah. I don't watch a lot of Marvel movies or DC movies anymore. So, and it's just because there's just too much of it. Like, I can't keep up with it, and it's just like I think I saw the last great Marvel movie that I saw was Black Panther, and the last one that I saw, aside from the 20 minutes I watched of Multiverse of Madness on a plane recently, I saw Infinity War, but I fell asleep in it, and that's where I kind of checked out. And I haven't watched a Marvel movie since. So it's like it's just too much. And so and
DC, yeah.
Blue Beetle
movies I've watched.
Oh,
he keeps cutting out. Oh no,
I don't know. That's him or us.
It could be both.
In terms of,
I blame you.
I blame me too.
Don't know what you're doing. Your magic sorcery stuff.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
I like What If.
What If was amazing.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to Echo.
I don't know about Echo.
No?
I don't know. I'm like on the fence about Echo. I hope it's a good show. I'd have something to watch, because I'm still watching Grimm, but it's kind of.
There you are.
Oh, there he is.
Oh man, I figured y'all didn't like my opinion on Marvel and DC movies and just cut me off. So
yeah, no,
no, on us.
Oh,
yeah,
we don't know who froze, but ours is still going. I thought.
Yeah, I know. I was like, yeah, and then y'all were talking about Echo, and I'm like, hi.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, cool.
No, we weren't ignoring you. You were frozen, but
I understand. I got you.
But yeah, man, it's one of those things. What if you like it or not?
Yeah,
it's out there. It's okay not to watch them. You watch what you like and you collect what you like. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I just recently started watching Star Wars shows. Like because I can't keep up with it all. It's just so much stuff. You know what I mean?
I love it. I have like a TV on the wall that I'm watching, then like the TV that I'm like drawing on with my references. Then I got my phone playing and YouTube usually.
Yeah.
But I guess I have to do that to keep focused.
Sometimes. You know what he told me whenever I was younger? Man, why do you have all these electronics on? They're all useless. You can't multitask.
You couldn't. There's a difference. I can.
Is there?
You couldn't. If you how dare you tell on me on stream?
I know, right? It's payback.
Hilarious. You can't pay back on your dad, man. He's cool. That's your dad, man. He's like, yeah, I can.
I took you to
Cole's
conventions.
pushing it.
I
Cole's
took you to
pushing it.
conventions. You met stars.
You met stars.
Mackie. That's cool.
Yeah, he's met stars.
I still want to meet Stephen Amell, but
Well, like
one day.
Isn't he supposed to be at Comic Palooza?
Is
That's
he?
right. I think so.
Who's that?
Stephen Amell.
He played Arrow.
Oh yeah, the Arrow guy. Yeah.
He wants to meet him. We were at
We went to New Orleans.
New Orleans, and he was supposed to be there and canceled. And he
Like this past weekend?
no, the year before.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, I just want to meet Stephen Amell, and then he canceled, and I felt bad for him.
And then I got to see Anthony Mackie.
But he got to meet Anthony Mackie, so I was like, you're okay.
Cool.
And then last year's Fan Expo in Dallas, he was there too, but we didn't go to that one. And I was like,
Oh yeah, we didn't go to that one.
Y'all are in the Dallas area, right?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we went to the Dallas Fan Expo the previous
the year before, yeah.
and we did good there, but I think the price went up.
And there was a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I hear about. I've never done Dallas Fan Expo.
It was huge.
Yeah. I've never done that show. So
Yeah.
I tried to get a table once. They took my money and then a month later returned it back to me and said you didn't get a table.
Oh wow.
I was like, that sucks. Okay.
Well, I think the only reason we got in was because we did the New Orleans Fan Expo.
Yeah.
And there were so many people that canceled on them. They had reached out, and I was talking to the runner of it. And whenever they did Dallas, I just called him and I said, hey, I'm trying to get a table. And he gave me one. Or not gave me, but I got in, and
yeah.
It was like I said, it was a great show. We definitely made money. It was just that it was,
and we got to meet a lot of people.
Ooh, it was hard.
Busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was big.
Well,
But
pre-COVID, I remember Comic Palooza, at least one year that I did it. It was a 4-day show. It was Friday to Monday, and because it was on Memorial Day weekend, right? And they did that. It was a 4-day one year. Now they're back to 3 again, which I can appreciate because four's a beating. Four's a beating. You have no voice by the end of 4. You know what I mean? Yeah,
right. I want to do Comic Palooza so bad too.
It's a good show. I've been doing it since my first year I did it was 2010. This is when the show was on the second floor of the convention center and in one half of the convention center, one half of the floor of the convention center. And the artist alley was in the concourse area where you walked through to get from place to place. That's where artist alley was. It was like, there was maybe 30 tables in artist alley. That was it. There was nothing to it. And there were stars in there. Like Rob Liefeld was like 7 tables away from me. It wasn't like,
wow.
Yeah. So they had the bigger artists there in there as well. It was funny. It was, and the show's just grown and grown and grown and grown. It's huge now. So, but yeah, got my table for that ready to go. Looking forward to that one as always, for sure.
Yeah, I would love to do Comic Palooza one year. I would.
Yeah,
love that's one of the shows that I really want to do. I mean, we try to get into New York, and whenever we try to get into New York, that was kind of like a Hail Mary kind of thing. We knew we weren't getting into New York, but
it was worth a shot.
Yeah, and we're gonna still, constantly try to get into New York, and I think we're gonna try C2E2 next year. And and again, it's one of those things that we don't expect it to anytime soon. But as long as we're trying.
And you never know what happens if it does.
Sure. No, I get it. I got accepted in New York in 2013. And I got accepted, and then I got laid off like 2 weeks before that I got accepted. And I could not afford to make the trip. So I had to give my badge to somebody else. And which was, it is what it was, And so I gave my badge to somebody else, and and I applied again when I came back to comics. I applied in like 2021, and they were still servicing people who had gotten screwed over from the pandemic. Right. And then this past year, I didn't even apply, but I had a friend who was there. He was like, "Hey man, you can share my table space with me." And I was like, that's cool. But then I had to go on a business trip anyway, so it didn't matter anyway. And I didn't even try this year. So for 2024, at least yet. I don't know if they've even put out applications, but they have.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I need to look and see. I don't even know. It's October, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to know whenever stuff's coming up and all that. Of course, that's like one of the things, like I said, I'm getting used to doing everything and balancing those schedules of conventions. That's definitely a hard one.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot, I mean, you can't. I'd love to go to New York. I did Brooklyn Comic-Con this past year. That was a one out, a little bit of a different show to do, but I was like, I want to go up to New York and just work with that audience, and get to meet, people up there. That was great. Obviously not the size of New York Comic-Con. I mean, it's a little small show in Brooklyn, but it was a good time. I mean, I just try and find good shows to go to. Like I've done Awesome Con in DC. That was a great show.
Oh, let me tell you, New Orleans Fan Expo.
I was supposed to be there this past weekend, but I got accepted into the show and everything, and then my parents decided to get married, and so that that's what I was saying, man. Anyway.
Wait till then.
Oh God, 31 years. You couldn't have given me one extra week. Come on, guys. I mean, I had a buddy who was gonna. Oh, you see how crazy? I'm gonna be a meme. Don't do that to me, Dylan. I'll freak out. Okay, anyway.
New Orleans was the best show that we ever did. I mean, anyone ever, we made the most. I think we only had 2 books at the time.
We only had the first
PTSD.
2 books.
Yeah,
we had Bushy Book because that came out like the month after.
Yeah. That's right.
And we didn't have anything else. No fan art. No any extra stuff. We killed it. That was the convention I ever been to.
That was how I was supposed. I was in. But no, I had to go. Obviously, I had to go to my parents' wedding.
Yeah.
and there wasn't.
But I was meeting a good friend of mine. The thing is, you meet all these great folks online, right?
Yeah.
And so Jerry Cooley, who does End of Days, we've been pals on Instagram for years. We talk on the phone. He's become one of those dudes in the industry that so we were finally going to get to hang out that weekend. And I mean, and I'm a sucker for New Orleans, dude. Like my wife's from New Orleans, so we like to get out there as often as we can. Big fan of the music, big fan of the food. I love the nightlife there. So any chance to escape into New Orleans for a couple of days, I'm in. I'm in.
We didn't get to see that much of it.
You didn't get to see that much.
Well, because I was at the table the whole time, and he got to go with the other person that we went with to check stuff out. But man, I mean, we don't usually have much money to do stuff.
Sure,
it goes into the comics. When we were at New Orleans, like I said, it was the best convention. Most successful one for us, I guess you could say. It was the best connections that I made.
Nice
people, and it was probably one of the funnest cities, even though I didn't get to spend that much time outside and he did.
Yeah.
It was great, man. I'm telling you, I tell everybody that's definitely the one convention that I suggest for anybody.
I'll do it again. I'll try it again next year because it was too, it's New Orleans. It's just a good, for me, it's an excuse to go to New Orleans, take my wife with me. We'll have a good time and I'll do the show. She'll go hang out in town and, and we'll get together and go do stuff at night. I love the food, the culture, the whole thing. Like I've been going to New Orleans since I was in college, as often as humanly possible. And I don't see myself stopping, you know what I mean? It's just one of those towns I totally love. Plus there's a comic convention. How much better does it get? You know what I mean? Yeah.
All right. So we're reaching the hour mark. We're going to go ahead and let our audience go. If you stick around, we'll chit chat a little bit beforehand. But before we do go, I do want to mention our sponsor, Geek Out in Burleson, Texas, and in Mansfield, 2 locations. That is Geek Out Comics and Games. They are probably one of the biggest stores out here in DFW, probably the second biggest. But I mean, it is an experience. If you're in this area and if you're a fan of any other comic store, I'm not telling you to switch comic stores, but check this one out at least once. Geek Out in Burleson and Mansfield, 2 different locations, great people, great experience. Also, Dan, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Lesser known comics. If y'all guys hadn't checked it out, please go check it out. Bigfoot Knows Karate. Is there any place that people could get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can find Bigfoot Knows Karate at lesserknowncomics.com. You can reach me over here at Danomite139. That's on Instagram, that's Twitter, that's TikTok, that's some other things, but it's all Danomite139. Just put that in there. You might find me in the social media app that you're looking to use.
And you are?
Hardest working kid in comic, the one, the only.
That's on eBay. This is Dylan Moore, and I am Paul Gomez. That's Paul Gomez 790. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you have any questions about comic creations, any comic questions, please reach out to me on Facebook. That's where I'm usually at. Also, if you're having a bad day, if you're not feeling well, if you need someone to talk to and can't find anybody, reach out to me. It's okay to not be okay as long as you don't live there. And I'm always here to talk. Paul Gomez 790 on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. Thank you.